Well, I'm very pleased to have with us here on set at the CPAC 2015 gathering, Mr. Chris Cox, Executive Director of NRA's Institute for Legislative Action. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Cam. It's good to be with you.
It's good to see you. And Mr. Kyle Weaver, the Executive Director of NRA's General Operations. How are you, sir?
Good, Cam. Good to see you again.
It's good to see you. So, first of all, Wayne LaPierre is going to be speaking here in just a few hours as we sit down and record this broadcast. And this is certainly, I think, a gathering where a lot of people are talking about our Second Amendment rights. First of all, we've got the backdoor bullet ban that we're seeing here from the Obama administration going after green tip ammo, some of the most common AR ammo out there.
Yeah, and Cam, Kyle and I were talking about this before. The truth is, this president wanted to ban ARs, and he couldn't do it. The National Rifle Association and our members and supporters stood up, participated in the process, and he lost. But of course, he's dogged. He's not going to give up. He said one of his great disappointments was the failure to pass gun control, so he's doing it through executive order. He's getting his pen out, and he's got a cell phone and a pen, and he's sticking it to gun owners and banning. Can't ban the rifle, so he's going to ban the second most popular ammo that goes in it. Make no mistake, this is not about anything other than pursuing a pure political agenda that's against the Second Amendment and against law-abiding gun owners. And you take it one step further, and as Kyle and I were talking about, who does this impact? This impacts shooters. Mm-hmm. People who are out training, all of Kyle's people who are training and putting people through this certification, all these kids who are going out and trying to learn how to shoot, they're the ones who are being impacted by this, and it's really not surprising, but it's shocking nonetheless.
So, and Kyle, let's talk about that for a second, because this will impact training. I mean, as you say, we know that competitive shooting is an extension of training anyway. What could this mean for the world of competitive shooters?
When you start looking at 2 years ago when we had the ammo surplus issue, just because of the actions he took and people buying everything up, it'll be worse than that, because at least in that format it wasn't illegal. But when you start taking the level of three-gun and the AR matches and the impact at Camp Perry all the way down, this is the inexpensive ammo they train with and shoot with. This is not the high-end stuff. This is what they shoot every day.
Right.
And from self-defense to especially our three-gun and the AR match stuff, it's huge. We're hearing it from all our folks, like, what are you going to do? They're kind of lost. They're scared to death. They're afraid to shoot. I got to keep what I got. The hoarding starting already again. And, it's uncalled for. It's not necessary. And as we know, it's not going to change a thing.
Well, absolutely.
And I'd make two more points. One, short-term, prices are going through the roof. Yeah. Go online and try to find some 223 ammo. Doesn't matter if it's green tip or not. You're going to see prices jacked up. And long term, if the most sinister aspect of this is the dishonest approach they took to trying to reclassify this ammo.
Yeah.
They're suggesting that this green tip ammo with a little bit of a steel core in it is somehow AP ammo. It's not. It's about velocity. You take a cue ball and you throw it 3,000 feet per second, it's going to go through soft body armor front and back. Mm-hmm. So if they can ban green tip ammo based on their definition, they can ban all 223 ammo. And if they can ban all 223 ammo in this definition, they can ban all 308. And what's to suggest that you can't put a 300 Win Mag or a 30-06 into a pistol platform,
right.
And then they can ban that. So if we don't stand up now and collectively send a message to, first of all, to ATF, and then most likely if they do this and move forward, to your members of Congress to block the implementation of this, we are literally setting up for the most massive ammunition ban in the history of this country, and something that I don't think a lot of people realize is this big.
Absolutely, and I know if folks go to NRA-ILA.org, they can write the ATF right there. We've been talking with folks around the country who are doing what they can. We talked with Trop Gun Shop in Elizabethtown, PA. They've set up a website where folks can email the ATF right there, and they've got a link to donate to the NRA on their page. And to that end, I want to talk about Congress, because I saw Paul Bedard, Washington Secrets, in the Washington Examiner yesterday, wrote about this, and I'm glad to see that non-gun media are starting to pick up on this. Rush Limbaugh was talking about this on his program. I was talking about it with Michael Graham down in Atlanta today. Because the more that we can get the word out, the more the rest of the media picks up on this. It can be, as you say, sort of a technical issue, right? When you start getting into the weeds of how this is happening. But when you say one of the most common types of AR ammunition is being banned without a vote of Congress, without a vote of any elected official whatsoever, people do sit up and they take notice here. And I know that you have already started working with Congress. Congressman Bob Goodlatte of Virginia has got a letter that he's asking for co-signers on.
He has, and there's over 100 members of Congress who have already signed on.
Wow.
By the time that letter goes out next week, I think it's going to be well north of 100 members of Congress. But what's so frightening about this and why it's so important. And the reason that Rush and other people are looking at this issue is this is a blatant overreach. You know, we talk about what can this president do with a Republican Congress and a Republican Senate. Apparently, he thinks he can do whatever he wants. He can completely do an end run around Congress, completely rewrite the statute that allows for a minor exemption. This ammunition was exempted 20 years ago. In 20 years, no .223 round has been used in a crime fired from a handgun platform to kill a police officer or that penetrated a vest. So again, this is it's not just a solution in search of a problem. It's a solution to their gun control problem. And that's what they're using this for. And it ought to offend anybody, whether you like guns or not. Whether you love guns, hate guns, you should be offended if you have a president who's willing to say, I don't like it, so I'm going to ban it. Doesn't matter. I don't care what Congress says. I don't care what the courts say. I don't care if it's popular. I don't care if it's illegal for me to do it. I'm going to do it anyway. That's what's frightening, and regardless of where you are on the Second Amendment, everybody ought to pay attention to this issue.
Absolutely. Listen, Chris, I appreciate you coming on and talking about this. And Kyle, we've been talking about, I think that is probably the biggest story out there for gun owners right now. But I want to talk about all the stuff that General Operations is doing, because these aren't necessarily the stories that make the headlines, but they are stories that are impacting millions of Americans each and every day around this country.
Absolutely. And one of the big things right now is we've got to get everybody rallied together. And Chris and I were talking that when we were walking around, is that, all hunters, it doesn't matter what you hunt or what you hunt with or how you hunt, where you hunt, we've all got to get together on this. We've got to get the competitive shooters. We've got to get the recreational shooters. We've got to get the people. There's 5 million owners of these ARs now. 95% of them probably very seldom pull the gun out and shoot it, but they want to, and when they want that right to do it, we've got to get everybody to wake up on this. And that's where GEO, I think, really comes in on this messaging, is when we need to turn that switch on, we've got to be able to do it. And keeping people exercising that right, that's the key to everything. When someone's out there participating and exercising in it, it's much easier to get them active when we need them, and we're in for a battle.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I can't thank you both enough for coming on the program, and you all have a microphone. Anytime you need it, anytime you want it, we are more than happy to have you on the show and talk with you about what's going on with gun owners and our rights.
Well, we appreciate what you're doing, getting the truth out, getting the gospel out. And as Kyle said, this is a critical time. We had a great victory on election night, but there's a lot of time between now and the first Tuesday in November 2016. And as Kyle said, now's the time for gun owners, whether you like that AR platform or not, to recognize that they're banning it for a reason. They're banning that ammo because they don't like the fact that women like the adjustable stock and the low recoil. They don't like the fact that it's the #1 selling, the most popular platform, and so they're going after the second most popular round that goes through it. It's a frightening overreach, and something that, again, Kyle's right. We need to all stick together on this. We need to all push back, get the message out to other shooters, get the message out to people whether they like guns or not, that do you really think the president should be doing this? Do you really think ATF should be doing this? And if we stick together and stick to the right message, we can turn this thing back around.
Chris Cox, Kyle Weaver, thank you both, sir.
Cam, great to be with you. Thank you.
Good talking with you.
Thank you, Cam.
Enjoy the rest of CPAC.
Thank you. You too.